When World War I was declared, no other state responded quite like WA. We had the highest number of soldiers per capita. And while most Australian and New Zealand diggers left from Albany, the 32,000 Western Australians left from Fremantle. Among them, standing here 100 years ago, were our forgotten ANZACs, the young and eager Indigenous soldiers that fought alongside their fellow Australians, but for so many years didn't receive any recognition. Thankfully, that's all changing. There's a lost part of Western Australian history being revealed to us for the first time, being told by two very passionate authors, Anna Wyatt and Mark Chambers. Their book is called They Served with Honour. The stories of 13 Indigenous soldiers, it's as fascinating as it is heartbreaking.
I think it's an area of our history that's been neglected, and I think it's really, really important that the contribution of Aboriginal soldiers in World War I, and particularly in Gallipoli in this instance, is told. The trauma that they experienced was horrific. They'd seen some horrific things. But for Aboriginal soldiers, when they came back, they had to deal with being shunned by society to a certain extent, and it was very, very difficult for them.
Aboriginal soldiers have served in every conflict Australia has been involved in, decades before they were officially recognised as citizens of their own country. After the battle, they thought they'd return to a grateful and respectful Australia, but sadly it was the opposite. They were denied equal rights for another 52 years, and that made their transition into a normal life twice as hard. And we know mateship is a great ANZAC tradition, but these diggers couldn't even share a beer with their mates at the RSL because they weren't allowed to join. Anna Wyatt and Mark Chambers spent months tracing the stories of these West Australian diggers. Sadly, for many of their descendants, this proud Aboriginal ancestry has been hidden from them.
To be able to unlock that past in cases where the story has been hidden, and to be able to pass this on to the families, I think there is a genuine sense of satisfaction to know that they've got ancestry, or Australian ancestry, going back 30,000 years, has been something to be proud of.
We know Albany has a special place for our ANZACs, but for Western Australians, including the Indigenous soldiers, Fremantle is more significant.
Absolutely, and for West Australian servicemen in general, they didn't leave from Albany. The majority, nearly all of them, left from Fremantle. So yes, it's a significant place for them all.
The book is being launched to coincide with the ANZAC centenary. The soldiers may have passed, as with many of their children, but finally their stories are cemented in history.